Hello and welcome. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. It's good to have you again with us. Now, you're watching a special broadcast here on DD India. We're calling it #Tracking COVID-19. Over the next 30 minutes, I'll get you all the latest developments from India and the world so that you know what it takes to be on top of the news. Remember, DD India is your one-stop destination for all information related to COVID-19. And it goes without saying, we at DD India are taking particular care to give you, the viewer, accurate, authentic and authoritative information so that you don't fall prey to rumors or fake news. All right, let's get started. So we have some... Right, so we've prepared some graphics just for you so that you get a 360-degree perspective of where things stand today as we speak. And let's look at India at a glance. These are the numbers from India today as we speak. There are 819 cases of active COVID-19 reports from India. That's the first information I want to share with you. That's 819 cases. And there have been 19 deaths so far in India since the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. Next up, we have the cured and discharged cases that number 79. This is for the Indian Ministry of Family and Health and Family Welfare. So 79 cases have been cured. Next up, we have almost 1.5 million passengers have been screened at various airports in India so far. Right, moving on. Next up, we have the next graphic, which says the highest number of cases reported is from Maharashtra state at 177. That's the largest number in state-wise data so far. The second highest number of cases is in Kerala at 168. Right, so that's the number from India and the largest number of deaths. Remember, there are 19 deaths so far, of which 5 are from Maharashtra alone. That's one state where 5 deaths have taken place so far. Right, moving on. What has changed between yesterday and today? Now, the active COVID-19 cases were 819 today. Yesterday, there were 640. So the number of increase is 179 cases in just 24 hours across India as we speak. Next up, we have the number of deaths. Today, 19. Yesterday, there were 17. So an increase of 2 in the last 24 hours. Right, moving on. Next, we have the cured and discharged cases. Today, there were 79. Yesterday, 66. So an increase of 13 over the matter of just one day in India. Right, next up, we have a passenger screen at airports. The number remains constant. Why? Because there are no flights moving at all in India. So flights have been grounded. So the number remains constant for the last several days now. Right, so that's the information coming up from India, and the highest number of cases in a state is 177 in Maharashtra, 129 in Kerala. So the change is that Maharashtra has overtaken Kerala in the number of deaths per state in the country today as we speak. So that's the situation obtaining in India today. Let's look at what is happening in the world around us as we speak. The confirmed cases are 5,12,701 cases across the world in the last several months, starting in January this year. The deaths are 23,495. That's the total number of deaths so far across the world in China, in Europe, in the US. And the number of countries affected is 201. That's the world at a glance for you. But what has changed in the last couple of days? The confirmed cases have increased from 465 lakhs to 512 lakhs. That's an increase of almost 50,000 cases across the world in the last 24 odd hours. That's point number one. Moving on, the point number two is the number of deaths. Now, today there are almost 24,000 cases of deaths. Yesterday it was 21,000. So in the last day or so, there have been more than 2,500 deaths across the world, all over the world in the last 24 odd hours. Right, next up, we have the countries affected by coronavirus. The number has shot up by 2 in the last day or so. Right, moving on, the next graphic we have for you is which shows exactly what the situation is as we speak. Now, these are the cases worldwide by date of report. Remember, it started on 23rd Jan, 574 cases, shooting up all the way to 27 March as yesterday, almost 50,000 cases reported worldwide on that one particular date. Remember, it was 49,000 on 26 March, and 27 March, it sort of went down by a notch to almost 47,000 cases. That's the world situation for you in a glance. Right, moving on, Prime Minister Modi has set up a fund where you can donate to India's war against COVID-19. The fund is called the Prime Minister's Citizen Assistance and Relief in Emergency Situations Fund, or PM CARES Fund. The fund accepts micro donations too. The Prime Minister tweeted that it will strengthen disaster management capacities and encourage research on protecting citizens. The fund will also cater to similar distressing situations if they occur in the future. Right, moving on, in the series of, for instance, across India that we have, news coming in from the rest of the country, the series of interactions with various stakeholders who are playing a crucial role in tackling and containing COVID-19, Prime Minister Modi interacted with Ayush practitioners via a video conference. Now, Ayush refers to Ayurveda, Yoga, Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha and Homeopathy. Right, next up, we have Health Minister Dr. Harsh Vardhan inaugurated a tele-consultation facility at the AIIMS Hospital in New Delhi. Now, this facility allows doctors to interact and exchange notes and compare notes with their counterparts throughout the country. The federal and provincial governments are taking several steps to help migrant labor and stem their exodus. The Ministry of Home Affairs directed states and union territories to use State Disaster Response Fund to make provisions for temporary accommodation, food, clothing or health care for the homeless, including migrant labor stranded due to the lockdown. Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba spoke to chief secretaries from the states in this regard. Now, Ramanand Sagar's iconic TV serial Ramayan once again entertained and enlightened people across the country who are at home due to the coronavirus lockdown. Now, Ramayan had premiered on Doordarshan way back in 1987, that's 33 years ago. It will be telecast at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. daily on DD National. Another popular TV serial of yore, Mahabharata, is also being telecast on one other of our sister channels called DD Bharati. It will be telecast daily at noon and 7 p.m. on DD Bharati. Now, as the 21-day lockdown continues across the country, the temple town of Ayodhya in UP is setting an example of social distancing. Now, people were seen buying groceries while maintaining a safe distance. Look at these visuals coming to you from Ayodhya in Uttar Pradesh. And shifting focus from Ayodhya now to Lucknow, with the official guidelines being followed to cut the transmission of coronavirus, municipal, health and district administration have been decked to carry out regular sanitization and cleaning. And moving on to Chandigarh now, to discourage people from leaving their home, bank employees in Chandigarh brought ATM machines to the doorstep of the people. Look at these visuals coming to you from Chandigarh, where people can be seen queuing up outside a mobile ATM van. Right to southern India now. In Tamil Nadu's capital Chennai, jail authorities look a unique initiative to connect prisoners with their families as entry of visitors is banned. The authorities allowed prisoners to talk to their family or friends via a video conference. Now, the first COVID-19 death has been reported in Kerala. The deceased was a 69-year-old native of Mattanjeri who had returned from Dubai on 22nd March. He'd been undergoing prolonged treatment for heart-related ailments and had undergone a bypass surgery. He was in the high-risk category and had been isolated from the first day of his arrival from Dubai. His wife and his taxi driver have since tested positive for COVID-19. Now, Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister Prema Khandu held a review meeting with deputy commissioners of all districts on 27 March. Now, 9 of 13 suspected cases of COVID-19 tested negative. The results of 4 persons are still pending.
जितने भी हमारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स हैं, सभी डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में कोरोना वायरस के खिलाफ उसको कंटेन करने के लिए बाय एंड लार्ज प्रिपरेशन बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है। वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग के ज़रिए जितने भी हमारा जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स है, खास करके जो एसेंशियल कमोडिटीज़ का स्टॉक हमने भी जायज़ा लिया और सभी डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में स्टॉक अच्छा है और डिप्टी कमिश्नर्स लोगों को ये निर्देश दिया है कि हमारा एसेंशियल कमोडिटीज़ में किसी प्रकार से भी शॉर्टेज नहीं होना है।
Now, in Rajasthan, 2 new cases were reported, one each from Bhilwara and Ajmer, taking the total number of positive cases in the state to 52. A 23-year-old man from Ajmer was admitted to JLN Hospital. He is a salesman. He had traveled to Punjab and returned to Ajmer on 22nd March. The second case was that of a 21-year-old woman who works at Bangar Hospital in Bhilwara. Right, now to the segment where we get you ground reports from our correspondents. Now, on day 4 of the lockdown, my colleague Sudipto filed this report from Tripura. Take a look.
It's the 4th day of lockdown in Tripura. Good news for Tripura is that Tripura doesn't have any COVID-19 positive cases here. Health Department sources say that 16 cases were tested yesterday and all came negative. Good news for Tripura is that people are cooperating with this lockdown. People are not coming out in masses. All the essential goods in Tripura are available. Medical facilities are running very well. So as a whole, Tripura is not facing any problem with COVID-19. And people are following the rules of lockdown very well. Police administration, municipality, medical staff, they are continuously on the street doing their duty. This is Sudipto Kaur, DD News, Agartala.
Right, now to our offbeat segment in which we showcase unusual, out-of-the-ordinary news. Believe it or not, robots are serving COVID-19 patients in Rajasthan. A robot actually serves food and medicine to patients at SMS Hospital in Jaipur. The step has been taken by the administration and donors together to safeguard health workers and medical staff against the COVID-19 disease. Right, now to some international news. International Monetary Fund's Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva says the world has entered a recession. There's immense pressure on emerging markets already suffering from lost commerce, reduced exports and massive capital outflows. She says emerging markets need at least $2.5 trillion to get through the pandemic. The IMF member countries had encouraged the fund to focus its efforts on steps that could be done quickly, including a doubling of emergency financing to $100 billion and creation of a new short-term liquidity facility.
It is now clear that we have entered a recession as bad or worse than in 2009. We do project recovery in 2021. In fact, there may be a sizable rebound, but only if we succeed with containing the virus everywhere and prevent liquidity problems from becoming a solvency issue. A key concern about a long-lasting impact of the sudden stop of the world economy is the risk of a wave of bankruptcies and layoffs that not only can undermine the recovery, but can erode the fabric of our societies. To avoid this happening, many countries have taken far-reaching measures to address the health crisis and to cushion its impact on the economy.
Right, let's take a look at what else is making news around the world. Now, worldwide, confirmed cases of coronavirus rose to above 500,000. The number of deaths increased to about 24,000. Surpassing the death toll of China, Italy recorded a shocking spike in coronavirus deaths on Friday with 969 new victims, the worst daily record for any country since the pandemic began. Russian military medics came out to help Italy when Russia itself is reporting new positive cases. The Russian army started shipment of medical aid to Italy on Sunday in a goodwill gesture from President Vladimir Putin. And Spain recorded new coronavirus deaths as the death toll shot up overnight by about 800 to nearly 5,000, a rise of around 20%. Now, Spain is struggling to cope as patients continue to stream into hospitals where staff face a shortage of protective gear such as masks. Spain hastily transformed an ice rink into a makeshift mortuary as confirmed cases in Spain have jumped tenfold since a state of emergency was imposed on 14th of this month. Now, meanwhile, in Europe, French health authorities reported 300 new deaths from coronavirus, taking the total to about 2,000 as the government decides to extend the national lockdown by 2 weeks, now due to end on 15th April at the earliest. Around 33,000 people had tested positive for the virus so far, although the real number of cases is likely far higher as testing was reserved for high-risk patients. Aiding in the process, French military shipped several patients from eastern France to Bordeaux in an effort to alleviate hospitals of the climbing influx of coronavirus patients. Now, across the Atlantic, the United States has reported more than 100,000 confirmed cases of the new coronavirus. The biggest cluster by far is in New York, home to almost half the cases, overwhelming the hospital system. New York plans to build 8 temporary hospitals to meet an expected surge, and the state estimates that demand for hospital capacity will peak in just 3 weeks. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has asked companies to produce urgently needed ventilators as the demand for ventilators skyrockets during the pandemic. To the Gulf now, Iran reported about 2,400 new cases of COVID-19 infection as the total number reached almost 30,000. The country reported 157 new deaths from the virus, raising the death toll from the virus to 2,200. Iran announced the implementation of a social distancing plan for 1 week starting 27th March. The plan includes further restrictions of the intercity travel, closure of public places such as parks, swimming pools and entertainment centers as well. And in Mexico, the state police of Quintana Roo created and performed a mariachi song to underscore the importance of social distancing and washing hands in order to halt the spread of new coronavirus. Take a look.
El coronavirus quiere llegar, el coronavirus quiere llegar. A la policía se va a enfrentar, a la policía se va a enfrentar. gente quiero informar que Quintana Roo no se va a dejar y con este virus vamos a acabar.
That's a wrap on this special broadcast, but news continues here on DD India. You can catch all the latest updates on our social media, mobile and digital platforms. I want to leave you with visuals from New York where people clapped and cheered for frontline workers fighting the coronavirus outbreak. It was similar to the nationwide clapping and cheering seen in India on 22nd March when people showed their gratitude for the frontline COVID warriors. Take a look at these visuals while I'll take your leave. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Stay home, stay safe, and please don't forget to wash your hands every few hours.
No, every 7 p.m. now. And then if you have a group.
Thank you.
भैया